Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for being with us. I'm State Controller Tom DiNapoli. Pleased to be here in Ulster County with my colleague in government, District Attorney Holly Carnwright. Come closer. I always like DAs to be near me. We're here for a very serious purpose, and that's to announce the results of my office's audit and our joint investigation into the financial activities of the Woodstock Fire Company number 3. At the request of current fire company officials, my staff spent weeks poring over the records of the company and discovered the former treasurer, Dale D. Hughes Jr., embezzled more than $200,000 in public funds over a 5-year period. Mr. Hughes was arrested yesterday, and the district attorney, following my comments, will address the criminal charges. The arrest was the culmination of the coordinated efforts of my audit and investigation staff in Albany and our regional office in Newburgh and District Attorney Carnwright's staff here in Ulster County. And I must say it was a very effective collaboration. We worked together in the past with the Ulster County DA's office, and I salute the professionalism and dedication of the team here, starting with the district attorney. We found that Mr. Hughes endorsed 83 checks totaling over $200,000 that were made payable to cash. Investigators traced much of the stolen money to Mr. Hughes's personal bank accounts. Unbelievably, and I really found this to be quite shocking, Mr. Hughes went so far as to pocket the cash proceeds from various pancake breakfast fundraisers. We estimate he was able to walk away with more than $20,000 in those cash donations. I know in my community people love to go to those pancake breakfasts. For a few bucks, you get something good. But here, there was something in the batter that people didn't realize what was going on. It was only when a payment of $10,000 for a new fire truck bay was returned for insufficient funds that the fire company's executive committee suspected this fraud. When Mr. Hughes was questioned by his colleagues, he attempted to quietly pay back the funds. He also attempted to alter bank and vendor records in an effort to conceal this theft. This case proves how important financial oversight is to local governments and to special districts. Money intended for public safety should not line the pockets of local officials. I've urged Woodstock Fire Company officials who are there now to immediately put systems in place to protect company funds and to prevent this kind of abuse from ever happening again. Our audit clearly identifies the necessary steps that need to be taken to provide proper fiscal oversight of the company's financial activities. As we find in so many cases when we have audits like this and investigations, it all starts with very weak internal controls or a lack of implementing internal controls. So we've suggested strongly that Woodstock Fire Company officials should review bank statements on an ongoing and regular basis. They should create an audit committee that annually audits the company treasurer's records and verifies bank balances. They should prohibit company checks from being made payable to cash. It's certainly sad that Mr. Hughes was able to steal from the public for more than 5 years. Certainly, this is a situation where more oversight and more accountability is needed. I certainly want to thank our team in the Controller's Office, several of whom are here from our Audit Division: Steve Hancock, Jack Doherty, Chris Ellis, Evelyn Ciabatoni, Denise Monteforti; from our Investigations Unit, Nelson Scheingold, Stephanie Kelly, Rebecca Shanley. And as I said, we had great collaboration on this effort with the Ulster County District Attorney's Office. Mr. Carnwright and his staff have been terrific to work with. I want to thank them again publicly for the cooperation and looking out for the public's interests here in Ulster County. And I'll turn it over to the DA for some comments, and then we'll take whatever questions you may have.
Thank you, Tom. My comments will be brief. Happy to respond to any questions that you might have. I'm somewhat limited in the specific information I can provide with an ongoing investigation. The first comment I want to make, I think, is perhaps the most important one, which is what you're seeing here is good government at work. You're seeing a collaboration between different parts of your government that work together, and when we work together, we get the job done. This is not the first time that Mr. DiNapoli's office has been to Ulster County, and I hope it won't be the last. This really, he's very kind to make comments about my office, but this is a case where he pretty much wrapped up and put it in a bow and gave it to me. An excellent investigation, cooperative effort between the two offices. Mr. Hughes has been arrested. He's currently incarcerated. I expect that the case will be prosecuted at the felony level. And given the investigation that was done by the Comptroller's Office, I expect that we'll be successful in short order and will return the public funds back to the public as it should be. And again, Tom, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. So this chart just briefly outlines the checks that were cashed by the former treasurer, and you can see the number of checks and the amount of money over that period of time from 06 to 2011. And these again are the recommendations that we made in terms of what the current treasurer and the company officials should do. And I do want to emphasize before I open it up that it was the current officials who brought this matter to our attention, and they certainly have been responsive to our recommendations, so I think that speaks well of the intent of the folks who are in charge there to rectify the situation and be sure that it doesn't happen again. So with that, we'll open up to any questions you may have.
George Patterson with Woodstock Times. Which local officials did bring this to your attention?
By name?
Yeah.
The treasurer, the current treasurer.
Current treasurer. I don't know his name.
James Dr. D.
And you know his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, current treasurer.
And sorry, just to follow up with the instance of that return check in 2011 prompted his getting in touch with
Exactly.
your office.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What connection is there between this and the district-wide audit that was released last week?
I would say no connection. The fire district, different from the company. We did a review of purchasing and procurement procedures and policies, made some recommendations on how they could be tightened up, but this is really a separate matter, and this really was a case of stealing.
When were you informed of this? Was it during your audit of the district, during the course of the audit?
He called us while we were on site at the district.
So there is an overlap.
Not in terms of the substance of what was being looked at, but we were there. Not unusual. We've had other situations where we show up, we'll often get a phone call or someone will say, gee, we really want to talk to you about something. So our presence there prompted the opportunity to say, gee, you know, we've got something a little strange here. Can you take a look at this as well? But again, it's a separate matter from the fire district audit, separate issues. Timing-wise, we happen to be there, but the audits were not intertwined.
They're separate operations. They're just.
And they're separate. One is the district, one is the company, so they're separate entities.
Mr. Controller, does your office audit fire companies like this on a regular basis?
Well, just a few years ago, we were given the authority to do that. So now, fire companies have become a regular part of our audit protocols, yes. For many years, we didn't have the authorization to do it, because keep in mind, these are separate entities. They're not government. They're separate they're corporations set up under the not-for-profit law. So when there had been some issues showing up in other parts of the state, the legislature, as part of a reform effort, gave us the authority, extended really the authority we had over fire districts to include fire companies. So yes, now it is part of our regular audit protocols across the state.
How long ago did you get that authority?
About 4 years ago, 5 years ago?
And
About 5, 6 years ago, maybe.
how often would you expect you'll be able to routinely audit a fire company like this?
Well, you know, again, keep in mind there are, you know, thousands of local government entities across the state. So each of our regions makes a judgment on an ongoing basis as to whether it's a city, a county, a town, a village, a school district, a special district, a fire district, which ones they're going to go to when, and that's based on a risk assessment that considers many factors, how long it's been since they've been there, what do they see in the newspapers, quite frankly, what kind of information are shared by local officials or by taxpayers, citizens that may suspect something is amiss. So given the enormity of entities that we have oversight responsibilities over, we trust the judgment of each of our regional offices to make a determination as to which entity they should go into at what time. But we have been doing more since we got that authority in the whole area of fire districts and fire companies. But it will vary from region to region as to what the schedule would be.
Given the nature of a large number of entities that your office has supervisory
Audit authority over. Yep.
responsibility
Mhm.
over. Do you think, the report indicates that an audit committee was supposed to look at this twice a year, but the president didn't do that. Should there be some other step? Would you recommend that entities like this have an outside accountant review the books yearly?